In this video, we'll discuss and demonstrate a full migration process from Microsoft Azure StorSimple to the CTERA File Services platform. Note that the example you'll see here is an example for a specific region and can be duplicated in multiple Azure regions. First, we'll demonstrate how to perform a data discovery job on the existing on-premise StorSimple using the CTERA Discovery and Migration tool running on-premise as well. This step provides you with important insights about the soon-to-be migrated data and is a crucial part of putting together a detailed migration plan. Browse to the CTERA Edge Filer address and go to the File Server Migration tool. Go through the Create Discovery Job wizard and configure the existing on-premise StorSimple device as the source. Choose the shares that you target to migrate and click Next. The shares you chose are the relevant shares that CTERA will run the discovery job on. Finish the wizard and create the discovery job. The discovery job now runs and notifies you once done. It is important to state that the job will get the folders and file structure and their attributes, but will not cause file rehydration and will leave stub, archive outside of the StorSimple cache layer, thus not causing egress costs from Microsoft Azure. Once done, in the Discovery dashboard, download a CSV file with all the results. In the dashboard, you see a per-share breakdown of the number of folders and files, average file sizes, and the last accessed and last modified over time breakdown. The details are available either as a by count or by size views. The next phase is an activity that is done between two Microsoft Azure products, migration from StorSimple to Azure files. This is a step that is recommended by Microsoft when migrating to a file server or caching filer type solution like CTERA. This step will present SMB shares with no bandwidth limitation and allow fast-paced migration. Please follow steps 1 through 4 in the Microsoft Azure official guide and move to the next migration phase in this video. Once the migration from Azure StorSimple to Azure Files is completed, the data will be ingested to the CTERA Global File System platform. In order to achieve this, you will need to use a Windows VM in Azure and make sure you have SMB access to the Azure Files shares migrated off of StorSimple and a drive letter mapped to them. In addition, map a drive letter from this Windows VM to the CTERA Filer VM in Azure as well. This way, the entire insertion process is kept in the cloud with no egress fees. You collect the relevant connection string from Azure Files shares and map this to the Windows VM. Next, you map a drive from the Windows VM to the target of the migration, the CTERA Filer VM in Azure. Make sure you have the target share created on the CTERA side, which is the target for this migration, and that you can map a drive letter to this share. Once you have the source and target lined up with drive letters, you can create the robocopy script that will manage migrating the data and the ACL permissions to CTERA. Create the script, save it, and run it on PowerShell. During migration, you can witness the progress and the statistics through the CTERA portal. In the Statistics page, you can see the local I/O, cache usage, and cloud I/O of the ongoing data migration jobs. Once completed, the sync status will show all synced, and the robocopy log with the relevant summary is created for review. After following the above procedure, there is one last activity to perform, the delta copy prior to user's cutoff. In order to get the latest and greatest data and permissions that were accumulated while the in-cloud migration was going on, there is a need to perform a final migration job before cutoff and move users' workloads to work solely from the CTERA platform. This job will copy the host and recent changes made during the above procedure. The source of this final delta copy is the on-premise StorSimple device that the users are still working on, as you can see on the left-hand side, while the target is the on-premise CTERA Edge filer, physical or virtual, that you can see on your right. You can see the slight difference between the source and target. The additional files, folders, and size represent data that was written and changed during the in-cloud migration. From a Windows server on-premise, create and run a robocopy command using PowerShell. This will kick off the delta copy job. After the job is done, follow the robocopy log and the status on the CTERA filer. Make sure it is on all synced. Note, this delta copy moves the latest cached data. Once this part is done, your CTERA shares are ready for user testing and final failover.